All right, what's going on, everybody? It is Troy back with another whiteboard video. Just wanted to talk about kind of common workout splits, kind of provide some insight, weigh the pros and cons a little bit, talk about some of their limitations, when to utilize them, just the very basics of program design. And we're actually going to kind of turn this into a two-part series. Travis is going to come in with part 2 pretty soon, talking more about the specifics of actual program design. So more of what these actual splits would entail, what would go into it based on your goals, things like that. But I'm going to go over kind of just the basic, some of these more common lifting splits, kind of, like I said, what they offer, their limitations, and hopefully just provide a perspective for some of you guys who have a hard time sticking to patterns, splits, things like that. So obviously I ordered these from high frequency to low frequency. High frequency meaning if you were to alternate straight through these days, you'd be frequently hitting the same patterns. So yeah, starting here, upper day. So this would be, first off, I do want to say this would be for somebody who's probably more introductory and definitely somebody who isn't going to the gym that often. So this would be ideal for somebody who's like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or something like that, to give yourself ample time for your entire upper body to recover, your entire lower body to recover, and so forth. So obviously an upper day would have to include typically chest, back, shoulders, arms, maybe even abs, things like that. So that's going to have a lot of compound movements and probably a lot of volume with the accessory movements. And that's why something like this wouldn't work back to back to back, wouldn't work that great back to back to back, because you're not giving the actual muscle groups, you're not giving your nervous system enough time to recover for yourself to be able to, as Greg Doucette says, go harder than last time, and give your muscles, give the actual muscle groups and give the nervous system enough time to recover for you to jump into it the next time. So like I said, this would be good for more of a beginner or somebody in the earlier stages of working out where they kind of need to ease into it, or they're not going as often. So they're going maybe every other day, or like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, something like that. That way you're hitting your entire upper body on Monday, give yourself a few days, give your nervous system plenty of time to recover, give all your upper body muscles time to recover, and then you hit upper again on Friday. So you've given yourself 3 full days to recover there. And then this is kind of more, these two right here are kind of more the sweet spot. They're actually very similar, and I'll touch on that in a second. But this is probably the most popular basis for a workout split. So if somebody were to ever come up to ask me, hey, what should I do for a workout split? It always depends, but typically push-pull legs is going to be what I would offer. That's a really good way to tax your muscles and your nervous system and push certain movement patterns frequently without overdoing it. So like, for example, this would be if you were to be doing, heavy bench, heavy deadlift, and then jumping in 2 days later and doing the same thing again, that would be probably overdoing it, especially for a beginner. But this, and especially if you throw in a rest day, you're giving yourself pretty much just enough time, so 3-ish days, 72, 80 hours, somewhere in there, several days for the particular muscle groups and your nervous system to recover just in time for you to jump back in and go harder than last time, push the volume, push the weight, do something like that. So this is typically what I like to do. So obviously push day would be your pushing patterns, you're pushing muscle groups, so chest, triceps, shoulders, bench, dips, shoulder press, things like that. Pull day, obviously back, biceps with your pull-ups, rows, deadlifts. Deadlifts, obviously you can kind of change there, but that's besides the point. And then leg day obviously stands on its own, typically hitting the entire leg. This is just kind of a deviation or a variation of the push-pull leg split here. So really, if you wanted to, you can kind of just change this up into however you want. This actually, minus the accessory, is what I'm doing right now. So I have a chest and back day, I have a shoulder and arm day, a leg day, and accessory day. So it feels like I'm able to do kind of my main compound movements in one day, and then more of an accessory day, working on my weak points, shoulders and arms, and then have a dedicated leg day. Similar situation here, relatively high frequency, especially if you're only having roughly, 1 rest day a week. And then I just added, because if you wanted to add an accessory day, that would give yourself even more time, especially if you're somebody who is strength focused, give yourself a little bit more time for the muscles and for your nervous system to recover before you jump back into the same workout again. So if you want to add a cardio day or a weak point day or whatever it is, this is going to be kind of similar to that, but really you could, change this up however you wanted. If you wanted to have a chest and shoulders day, and then a back and arms day, or however you want to split it up, really, as long as you're giving yourself that 3-ish day space between hitting the same patterns and same muscle groups, that's going to be kind of the sweet spot for hitting a muscle group frequently without overdoing it. And then split 4, kind of jumping into not as advised typically, kind of the Arnold bodybuilding split here: dedicated chest day, dedicated back day, leg day, shoulder day, arm day. So this is going to be, first off, not usually advised, and it's going to be for somebody who's probably working out very frequently, so 6-7 days a week. This would make somewhat sense if you're somebody who just wants to be in the gym every day and that's it. You can't really afford to do these days back to back to back without any rest days at all, just because it's going to catch up to you. If you're doing the same movement patterns over and over again, just a couple days apart for months, I mean, that's going to catch up. So at least with this, if you're someone who likes to work out frequently, go to the gym every day, you've at least got 4 full days before you're hitting chest again or you're hitting back again. Now, some of the limitations here, first off, your nervous system is going to be kind of skewed in certain directions. So like I said, first off, you've got a full-blown back day or a full-blown leg day. That's going to be very heavy on your nervous system. And then you're going to turn around and have just a shoulder day, which is going to be very minimal tax. So it's not the perfect way for someone to address their weak points. Because say you're somebody who's really lagging in arms and you need to, like myself, and you need to up your arm volume. Well, you're only going to be hitting arms every, 5th day here. And if you have a rest day, you'll be hitting it every 6th day. So that's where it is kind of a limitation, just because you're not able to adjust kind of your weak points. Now you can always adjust, kind of add in here. So if you're somebody who's lagging in arms, you can do back and arms and then hit arms again. Obviously everything's does vary, but typically this is going to be okay for somebody who is working out very frequently. But for somebody who wants to keep the frequency high, that way you're giving your muscles just enough time to rest. That way, as soon as they're recovered, you're ready to jump back in, push the volume, push the weight, something like that. That's not going to be as ideal. That's why this is kind of outdated. You don't see this as much anymore. It's just not the most efficient way to train, especially for hypertrophy, body composition, things I was talking about. Because you may, especially like I said, especially if you have a rest day, you may end the month, and you've hit legs 4 times in a month. So that's kind of why there is a little bit of a limitation here. Now that's kind of the most basic breakdown here of some of these splits and what they offer. I hope you guys did appreciate it. Let us know if you have any questions. Like I said, Travis is going to jump more into actual specifics, still keeping it on a more basic level, just because it's hard to it's hard to design programs across the board for everybody, just because goals are so different. But these are basic splits, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and feel free to submit any questions about this, and we'll be happy to answer them.